Have you ever felt that there's something beyond what your eyes can see? That life carries invisible layers, waiting for the right moment to be unveiled? The opening of the third eye isn't a privilege reserved for a few enlightened ones. It's a real possibility for anyone willing to access deeper levels of perception and wisdom. Many spend their lives searching for answers outside themselves, while the true portal to full consciousness lies right here, within you. But be warned, not everyone is ready to face this journey. Opening the third eye is like gazing into the universe while simultaneously looking at your own reflection. In this video, you'll discover why so many talk about the third eye, but few truly understand its essence. The promise is simple: to see the world with new eyes, both literally and symbolically. This isn't about magic or superficial mysticism, but about transforming who you are, burning away old patterns of ego, ignorance, and attachment. And the best part? I'll show you how to achieve this in a practical and accessible way through methods that actually work. Spoiler: it's not as simple as closing your eyes and waiting, but it's also not impossible, as long as you're willing to listen and apply. Prepare to dive into an entirely new reality. Together, we'll uncover the hidden meanings, powerful methods, and transformative impacts surrounding the opening of the third eye. So, are you ready to face the truth that most people prefer to avoid? The third eye is more than a mystical concept. It represents the ability to see beyond the obvious, unveiling what physical eyes cannot perceive. Shiva, one of the greatest symbols of wisdom and transformation in spirituality, is often associated with this expanded vision. His third eye isn't merely an ornament, it's a portal to deeper perception. Imagine looking at a landscape and then opening your third eye, allowing you to see hidden layers, energy flowing, symbolism behind forms, silence filling the spaces. It's like unlocking a new dimension of reality. Awakening this inner eye isn't something reserved for deities. It's a path accessible to anyone willing to dive into their own consciousness. Think of the third eye as a muscle that needs to be exercised. Meditation, silence, and detachment are some of the keys to unlocking this perception. Those who expand their consciousness in this way begin to perceive the invisible connections governing life. It's a type of wisdom that transforms simple everyday acts, like drinking water, into moments of connection and gratitude. It seems simple, but the depth lies in perceiving what has always been there. Interestingly, the third eye also presents a challenge. It demands that you see what you often prefer to ignore. The ego, for instance, loves to create comforting illusions, while the third eye seeks raw truth. That's why opening this channel of perception requires courage and often a radical transformation. Are you prepared to burn away the chains of ignorance and leave behind everything that limits your evolution? That's where the next part of this fascinating journey comes in. The opening of Shiva's third eye isn't just a symbolic event, it's a spectacle of pure transformation. Tradition says that when Shiva's third eye opened, it burned everything around him that wasn't essential. This act serves as a powerful example of how true perception can destroy ignorance, ego, and attachments that keep us bound. Think about your own life. How often do you cling to ideas, emotions, or people that no longer make sense? Opening the third eye is like igniting an inner flame that purifies everything that doesn't resonate with your higher essence. This transformative fire, however, isn't destructive in the usual sense. It's more like an internal alchemy that turns what seemed like weakness into strength, ignorance into wisdom. When you confront your limitations, fears, and illusions with Shiva's courage, you discover they can become stepping stones for spiritual growth. A practical example of this is the daily practice of deep meditation. By sitting in silence, you allow this inner flame to illuminate the shadows within, revealing where the ego insists on dominating and where detachment must be cultivated. But don't be mistaken, this process demands surrender. Opening the third eye is an invitation to abandon the control that the ego craves and trust the natural flow of energy. Many fear this transformative fire because it requires burning away old identities and making room for something new. But remember, there's no creation without destruction. Are you willing to ignite this inner fire and watch it consume everything that isn't truly you? This journey continues, but the first step is recognizing what needs to be burned. There are two main paths to opening the third eye, each carrying its own depth and challenges. The first is to create a complete internal void, a state where nothing obstructs the flow of consciousness. It's like a perfectly silent room where you can hear even the faintest sounds of the universe. This method involves the practice of mental silence and constant meditation, a detachment that dissolves the ego and clears space for true perception. Imagine sitting in meditation and gradually feeling your mind emptying until everything aligns in a pure state of consciousness. This is the void needed to open your inner doors. The second method, on the other hand, uses internal pressure as a transformation tool. It consists of holding everything, thoughts, emotions, energies, until the pressure becomes so intense that the only option is for the third eye to open. It's like a pressure cooker that, upon reaching its limit, releases its accumulated potential. This method is powerful but requires caution. Without proper guidance, this pressure can create internal imbalances or even frustrations. However, with an experienced guide, it can be an impactful though challenging path. Both methods have their beauties and difficulties, but the choice depends on your nature and life circumstances. While the internal void is calmer and more gradual, the pressure can be explosive and immediate. It's like choosing between the slow fire that patiently cooks or the quick explosion that transforms instantly. Which one resonates more with your journey? Before deciding, it's important to understand which path offers a more solid and sustainable foundation for your spiritual growth. Among the two methods to open the third eye, the state of internal void stands out as the most effective and sustainable. This path is like cultivating a garden. You remove weeds, prepare the soil, and create space for something grand to grow. Creating an internal void is about learning to silence the mind and detach from the ego's noise. This doesn't mean ignoring thoughts, but observing them without clinging to them. Meditating daily, even for 10 minutes, can be the starting point to achieve this state of stillness. It's like turning off the chaos around you and accessing a place where only you and silence exist. This internal void isn't the kind that frightens. It's a state of pure potentiality. Imagine an empty glass. It's not without anything, but full of possibilities to receive the best. When you create this space in your mind and heart, you'll notice that true wisdom and energy begin to flow naturally. A simple exercise to start is observing your breath. By focusing on the air entering and leaving your body, you disconnect from external noise and begin to experience a glimpse of this transformative void. More importantly, the internal void offers stability. While other methods like pressure may yield quicker results, the void builds a solid foundation for continuous growth. It's like constructing a house on a foundation of stone rather than sand. When you practice detachment and learn to surrender to the present moment, the perception of the third eye naturally emerges as a reflection of this inner tranquility. But if creating an internal void is so powerful, why do so many choose other paths? Perhaps the challenge lies in the resistance to silencing the ego and overcoming the impatience for immediate results. The method of accumulating pressure to open the third eye can be tempting, especially for those seeking quick results. However, this approach comes with significant challenges. When you try to retain emotions, thoughts, and energies within yourself, you create a tension that can be difficult to sustain. It's like holding a spring tightly. Eventually, it snaps out of control. Many who choose this practice face internal stress, emotional crises, and, in some cases, a sense of emptiness, not the transformative void, but one of exhaustion. Furthermore, constant pressure doesn't guarantee lasting results. Think of people who suppress their emotions daily. They may appear strong on the outside, but are battling a storm within. When pressure builds beyond its limit, the effect can be explosive, but not in the transformative way expected. Instead, this explosion can lead to emotional or energetic imbalances. This happens because the ego and chains of ignorance often remain suppressed, not eliminated. The energy can disperse erratically, turning the process into a burden rather than a liberation. Despite these challenges, the pressure method attracts many because it seems more direct. But like any shortcut, it can be risky if not used wisely. It's like trying to cross a river by running over slippery stones. You might make it to the other side, but the chances of falling and getting hurt are high. That's why it's crucial to assess whether the quest for immediate results is worth the cost. After all, there's a path that offers deeper and more lasting transformation, but it demands something few are willing to cultivate. At first glance, the middle path seems like the most sensible choice for those seeking balance in life. However, when it comes to opening the third eye and spiritual growth, this path often leads to stagnation. Opting for the middle is like walking a tightrope without truly committing to either side. You don't dedicate yourself enough to creating a complete internal void, nor do you endure the pressure necessary to force transformation. It's a comfort zone disguised as prudence, where growth becomes slow or even non-existent. This approach is common because it avoids the extremes that intimidate, absolute detachment and transformative pressure. However, the lack of commitment to a clear method prevents energy from flowing fully. Imagine someone who decides to meditate when there's time or practice detachment just a little. This attitude creates a cycle of lukewarm attempts where the individual experiences small glimpses of perception but never reaches deep transformation. It's like lighting a fire only to let it die out before generating enough heat to illuminate the path. Avoiding the middle path doesn't mean pursuing unsustainable extremes, but fully committing to the process of spiritual growth. Choosing a method, whether it's the internal void or transformative pressure, and following it with dedication is what truly makes the difference. After all, opening the third eye requires courage and total surrender, not hesitant steps. It's time to decide, do you want to remain in your comfort zone, or will you dive headfirst into this journey of self-discovery? The choice is before you, and the next step is inevitable. We've reached the end of this journey, but the true beginning is now in your hands. You now know that opening the third eye isn't just about curiosity, but transformation. So, are you ready to apply everything you've learned? Start today. Dedicate a few minutes to silence, observe your thoughts without attachment, and choose a method that resonates with you. Remember, this isn't a journey for the impatient or for those afraid of change. What will you do differently from now on to make space for this new perception? If this video has stirred something within you, that restlessness asking for more understanding, growth, and spirituality, don't ignore it. Share in the comments, what do you feel you can transform in your life? And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. We're just beginning to explore the mysteries and possibilities of consciousness together. There's so much more to come, and you won't want to miss the next step of this journey. The decision is before you. Why not take the first step now?